afternoon. Hello there. Welcome to another Kerfuffle Spotlight here, and I am delighted to have on today Alex Evans for Estate Apps. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Simon. Hello, all. I'm good, thank you. How are you doing? You right?
Are you going to not greet us? Is it? I can never remember. Is it Spanish or Portuguese over there?
It's Spanish. It's Spanish. That's a terrible opening, dude. I feel like you should have done some research.
For anyone who's been stuck under a rock and doesn't know that Alex has had to flee the country, no, you haven't had to flee the country. That's a lie. But you did rather fantastically. Oh no, I got caught in lockdown. You're caught in South America, aren't you?
I am, yes. It wasn't planned. Just to be clear, it wasn't planned. The plan was to be here for 6 weeks. To be fair, I didn't actually have a plan in terms of time frame. I basically done a one-way ticket. The idea was obviously I'll bring my laptop. As long as I've got a Wi-Fi connection, I'm effectively at work. And then literally the day after I flew from Heathrow, COVID hit in England. And then about a month later, it hit here because here's a fair bit behind. So
because traditionally the model is they buy single tickets out of South America.
Yeah, I know. I've done it the opposite way. I agree. I appreciate that sounds a little bit strange, but it's true.
Well, I felt sorry for somebody who got locked away in Wales the other day, but anyway, you've got the good side, right? Well, Alex. First of all, let's give you the big, I can't do a trumpet, otherwise I would have done it, but it's worth saying. You have won for the third year in a row, Best in Sector at the Esters for digital marketing. I think they changed it around. It was also websites, but that's a big plaudit, isn't it, to get that level of consistency? Just talk us through why you felt you got that.
Well, it's obviously
it's not for being the best.
I wasn't actually going to say that. I should have started with that, but no, I wasn't going to say that. No, mainly because, well, obviously it's from client feedback, which is why, to be honest, that was the main reason I was attracted to taking part in the awards in the first place. It's based on clients, not a judging panel, and to be honest, it means more to me than pretty much anything, most of the other things we do. I mean, I champion social proof a lot, and obviously this is slightly is the same thing, but it's awards, so it's a little bit different, but in that respect. But honestly, really proud. It's not just me though. Obviously, there's a whole team behind me that kind of just that do all the hard work. Obviously,
that's really a megalomaniac owners should take it all.
No, I can't. Honestly, I can't do that. I think my brother Adam's watching, so he would kill me as well. So
okay, fair enough. Well, you got a big welcome there from the Viking himself, Mr. Esters. Hello, my lovelies. This is the men's grooming channel. Brilliant.
He's basically joined to throw out abuse. Nice.
Yeah. More of that quality later. But anyway, we're gonna go straight in. Is that you haven't got a mojito there?
Dude, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. No, I haven't. Sorry, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's an orange juice.
Okay, good. I was getting jealousy pangs. Okay, websites. The topic today is websites. Estate agents virtual shop window, not Vindo. Let's start off. Can we start off with just the most obvious question of all? What is the importance these days of a website?
Why? Yes. It's quite strange because I get asked this question quite a lot. So basically, for me, it's what the user sees. I mean, at the end of the day, you need the typical user journey for me. Yes, a lot of agents seem to think that their traffic starts at Rightmove. Actually, nowadays, that's becoming it's a lot less than you might think. But nonetheless, even if they found you on Rightmove, they're not going to make an instant decision there and then, are they? They're going to obviously do a bit of research, probably Google you, probably check out your reviews, no doubt. Probably check out your social proof, your social channels. They might have even found you on Facebook, as an example. But whatever happens, 9 times out of 10, they're going to end up at your website. Therefore, you kind of want to make it look as good as you possibly can. I'm not saying spend millions on it, no. But presentable, you've got to make sure that it looks good certainly compared to the ones that are in your local area, because they're the other ones they're going to be looking at, obviously.
So where does it tip over in terms of going from a sensible, reasonable amount to spend and just becoming, taking the Mickey territory?
I mean, no. Do you know what? That's not a correct. I mean, it depends on budget, doesn't it? I mean, that's not really. That's completely up to the client and what they're prepared to spend. But I think the point is really, for me, I treat the website as like a hub. Essentially, it guides all the traffic into it, and that basically is that's how important it is. Really, it's effectively your shop front. But don't forget as well, a lot of the agencies, certainly a lot of the agencies I talk to nowadays, as I'm sure you obviously know, they're actually not. They're actually removing themselves from the high street. They haven't even got a high street presence, so therefore it's actually even more important, because that is literally their digital shop front. So again, it's that's how important it is, basically.
And it was obviously that was rammed home ever more than normal, obviously, with things like lockdown. If you didn't like your website going into lockdown, you weren't going to be very happy sat there when that was pretty much your only, customer facing entity, wasn't it? So
that is indeed true. Yeah, actually, interesting stat on the. So we were looking at we obviously look at stats quite regularly internally, but so what was it? April, May, across the board, our platform. 50% less traffic across the board. 50%. That is a massive drop. However, June, every single site, record numbers of traffic.
Literally record overall. So
So they've never had almost all of our clients, as far as I know, almost all of our clients never had as much traffic as they've had in June.
And have you ever seen? You mentioned that was it unprecedented? You'd never seen a drop?
Oh no, I've never seen that before. No. Well, I mean, that was.
What would the biggest drop have been before then, in terms of percentage terms?
I mean, I don't recall any time certainly in the last 3 years, I don't recall anything as big as what we saw this last 3-4 months. Honestly, I don't. If I was completely honest, I was kind of expecting. I'm not known as an optimist, but I was kind of expecting it, because obviously everyone's been pent up, haven't they? Everyone's been. They're not able to do anything, and obviously the last thing you want to do is I know it's called property porn, but at the same time you don't want to keep looking at something that you can't get or have at that moment, or even be involved in it. So what's the point? So I suppose they've just kind of backed off because of that, and then but June just went nuts. Honestly, honestly, I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a little bit, not nowhere near the level that I thought. And actually, sorry.
Has it continued? No, it
has. No, it has. No, obviously July's not finished yet, but yeah, no, it has. No, of course it has. Actually, I was going to say though, going back to the original question of why. Again, if your website's getting 30,000, 40,000 unique visitors per month, I mean that's a big why. That's a lot of eyeballs on your brand. You can't discount that, So yeah, I've never been known to champion the portals. I've always not been a massive fan, mainly because they don't really help the agent in terms of there's no link backs, there's no SEO benefit, there's literally nothing. I don't see they do much overall. But this again, going back to the whys, is it's all about your brand and making sure that brand looks good.
And how do you? What are the simplest tips you have for reinforcing their brand online? What's the process you go through it with an agent?
Well, funnily enough, I was asked to review an agent's website last week, a London-based agency, and the first thing I did was Google them. I already knew their web address. I had a link. The first thing I did though was Google them. I saw 3 things kicked out at me immediately. The first was, obviously you see the Google results, yeah? The first was they had 550 odd, I can't remember the exact number, I think it was about 551 Trustpilot reviews. I thought, wow, that is impressive.
Yeah.
On the same page, I saw they had 3 Google reviews, a whopping score of 2.1. They then had, again, on another link, which is right at the top, all agents, 39 odd reviews. Don't be quoting on the numbers, but again, like 2.4, 2.5 score. So that straight away told me that was a brand that wasn't clearly not focusing on what other people were looking at. They had obviously, someone had made a decision, right, we're going to be paying for Trustpilot. So I know, let's push everyone there and hope for the best. The problem was, and what no one obviously told them, was no one's going to go to Trustpilot to search for their next agent. I mean, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So that was a bit of an issue. Website overall was all right, but that straight away the social proof bit really had an impact on me straight away, you know.
And you're a seasoned pro in this field, but so what would you say that actually more and more vendors, potential vendors in particular, are getting wise to that as well? So this isn't just that you would see that. If you were looking at that site, looking at that agent, so that really jumps out at you, that it feels like it was being gamed.
Yeah. Oh, not necessarily gamed. I mean, you can tell. I mean, if you just look at, most people read reviews. They don't read all of them, obviously. Even I think the average is generally people read 6 or 7 reviews before they, make a decision. I actually, I tend to actually look at the negative reviews more than I do the positive ones. For example, when I go when I'm going abroad, for example, I'll look at various sites, but I'll look at the negative reviews mainly because I want to see if they're consistent. If they're all saying the same thing, then that generally means there's actually a problem. And it's obviously, especially even worse if there's no feedback to it. There's always warning signs. But yeah, for sure, social proof for me is massive. I mean, it's how I generate business, let alone keep business going. And yeah, I think every business, no matter what, no agency or not, it should be standard. It should be the first thing you think about.
Are there any key metrics on this that can you ever be so precise to say you should be expecting, 20% from social proof, from referrals like that, or 50%, or is every agency still a fairly unique case?
No, it's going to be varied across the board, isn't it? Actually, I tend to find certainly with letting agents, particularly, they've actually got a bigger struggle than most, mainly because tenants. And this is the problem. The problem for letting agents is not actually their problem. They tend to get blamed for anything and everything. When, like, for example, the landlord, for example, the property state, there's an issue in the property. The letting agent's going to get the blame for it, even though it's not actually their issue. The main reason being that they're the only one with the platform to actually put the review on.
Yeah.
So straight away they're on a negative, and that's always going to be a problem. But the best way to tackle that problem really is to actually ask. Sorry?
How can you address that? As you said, it's almost weighted in terms of.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't. The thing I always say is, look, you've always got to look at the positives. Obviously, reply to all the negative feedback, of course, because if you leave it, then that's obviously an issue. But more importantly, you've got to go out there and get other reviews. I mean, again, obviously, if you get 2 negative reviews, well, try and get 5 good ones, because straight away it's always a balancing act, isn't it? You've got to keep pushing. A lot of agents I tend to speak to don't even ask for reviews. Standard, they don't even ask. And I don't know why that is. I think to be honest, I think it's probably a confidence issue more than anything else. I mean, if I was honest, I was obviously worried back when I started doing this. I was admittedly quite worried about asking for reviews myself. But after a while, you just get used to it and it becomes second nature. And I just do it all the time now.
It's a British issue, that though, isn't it? We don't.
I think you're right.
We just don't like asking for it. I think anyone who you'll see that. And actually, what's really weird is actually you quite often get thanked when you ask somebody for a review, as in, "Oh no, I'd be delighted to do that." They're pleased to have been asked a lot of the time, and it's not hard, is it? If somebody's gone out of their way to say it, that is an open goal, isn't it? Just to say, look, that's absolutely fantastic. This is honestly where we get most of our business. Would you mind just spending a moment there? Well, look, he's jumped in ahead of the curve. He's always ahead of the curve, is Mr. Byfield, but we're talking about reviews at the moment anyway. He says, on a serious note, loving Estate App's review curating tool, and particularly like the website they recently did for an agent in Peckham. So I'll ignore all the obvious sort of Del Boy jokes and shit like that, but sorry, can't remember the agent's name. So obviously the brand thing there worked really well for me. But anyway, getting that. Talk us through your new creation, because I think you've hit on a bit of a sweet spot here in terms of what you're doing.
Well, for me, sorry, we're talking about the review form, yeah?
Yeah.
For me, to be fair, we've been using it for 6 months. There was a few ideas behind it, but actually, it was actually one of our clients, a guy you probably know, Paul Long, that actually came to us with the basis for it. Quite simply, you get 5 stars on a page. You select 1, 2, or 3 star. You're presented with a form. That form obviously allows you to put your name, your phone, your email, and whatever the feedback is. Obviously, it's going to be negative. That goes to your inbox, your email, not anywhere else. Now, quite simply, that number one, most importantly, that gives you a chance to actually pick up the phone and sort that issue out. Hopefully turn that negative into a positive. Bearing in mind what I said earlier, it may well be a tenant, therefore having a problem with the landlord. And obviously, again, you can nip that in the bud before it goes public. The user, from the user's perspective, they're not really going to be thinking about, at the end of the day, you've just presented them with a link, similar to what you just said earlier. They're just going to follow the process, aren't they? They're not going to think about where it's going. If, however, you select 4 or 5, you're taken to a different screen. That screen quite simply asks you what platform you're going to go to. So obviously you can have any platform you want. On our version, for example, we have Google, Facebook, which are the top 2 for any business, really. We also have Kerfuffle, obviously. We have Esther's.
Sorry, you just put us below Facebook and Google. That's outrageous.
Oh, sorry. Are you putting yourself above them?
that doesn't fit in with our marketing at all.
Okay, fine. I'm so sorry. I thought we weren't allowed to talk about Kerfuffle. That's what it says on the profile.
It does. It's like Fight Club. You don't mention us.
That's again great brand awareness. But yeah, anyway, so basic, and then so obviously you've then got the a selection of logos to pick from. You click on one, it loads up in a new browser window, and allows you. It goes straight to the screen wherever you need to place the review. So, for example, if you select Google, it goes straight to the write a review screen. And basically, the user just writes a review. The important thing for me, and again, me being a small business myself, since using, so basically what I used to do, sorry, just to go back a bit, what I used to do is send out an email with like, I don't know, 4 or 5 links on it, individual links. The problem was, I'll get one review, one person doing one review on one of those platforms. The problem I always had was I needed people to do multiple platforms, because obviously the whole point of social proof is you need to look good everywhere. There's no point good looking, as I said in the example earlier, there's no point looking good on Trustpilot when other people are looking on Google, for example, or Kerfuffle. But yeah, so anyway, but what I've noticed in my own journey with this particular application, so I've been using it for 6, 7 months now. I would say 65-70% of the people that do that form actually now give me multiple reviews. Not across all of them, but 2, 3 of them at least, and that is a massive shift.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? I mean, to have that echoing across the major ones there, and I'm very quick with my praise on this, but the ease of use of it is the absolute key to it. The way you've just made it a no-brainer in terms of doing it, and I think it's really, really good in terms of just. I mean, you've really come up with a compelling price point as well. Can you talk about the price points here?
It's a free trial, 90 days, and it's 15 quid a month, excluding that.
For something important as curating your reviews, that's pretty.
To be honest, it was for us. It was a no-brainer. We wanted to do it at a price point that actually everyone could do, simply because it is, as you correctly said, it's so important, and a lot of people just forget about it and don't think about it and spend their money elsewhere, which I'm not saying don't spend your money elsewhere, obviously, but this is such an important thing and it can actually help. So that's kind of why we just wanted to make it as fair and as get it out there, because the more people that use it, the better.
And thank you, Alex. Hope to see you back here soon for that point.
Yes, no worries, mate. Thank you.